The moment you see the lights, what to do first. The second you notice police lights flashing behind you, your decisions in the next 60 seconds matter enormously. The first rule is simple: stay calm and pull over safely. Slow down, signal, and move to the right side of the road as quickly and safely as possible. Once stopped, turn off your engine, roll down your window, and keep both hands clearly visible on the steering wheel. Do not reach for your glove compartment, your bag, or anything else until the officer approaches and asks for your documents. Sudden movements make officers nervous and can escalate a routine stop instantly. The rule is simple: stay calm, be polite, hand over your documents, and say as little as possible. When the officer arrives at your window, greet them politely. You are legally required to hand over 3 things and 3 things only: your driver's license, your vehicle registration, and your proof of insurance. Have these ready before the officer reaches your window if possible. Beyond handing over those 3 documents, you are under no legal obligation to say anything further, and understanding that distinction is the foundation of everything else that follows. The right to remain silent. What you must and must not say. Most people don't realize that the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent applies fully during a traffic stop, not just after an arrest. You do have to answer questions about your name, date of birth, and current address, but beyond that, you are not legally obligated to answer questions about where you're going, where you've been, or whether you've been drinking. When an officer asks, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" One of the most common opening questions, the correct answer is not to guess or apologize. Do not say, "Did you pull me over because I was speeding?" or "Sorry, officer, I didn't see the stop sign." This could be interpreted as an admission of guilt. The ideal response is calm and neutral: "I'm not sure, officer." If you choose to exercise your right to silence beyond that, the exact words to use are, "I am exercising my right to remain silent." A simple, polite statement like "I am exercising my right to remain silent" is legally sufficient. Remember that anything you say can be used against you later, even seemingly innocent statements. Officers are professionally trained to use casual, conversational questions to gather information that becomes evidence. Questions like "Where are you coming from tonight?" or "Have you had anything to drink?" are not small talk, they are investigative. You do not have to answer them, and politely declining is your constitutional right. The right to refuse a search, the words that protect you. This is where most Americans unknowingly give up their most powerful constitutional protection. The Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects people against unreasonable searches and seizures. Generally, a police officer must have probable cause backed with a search warrant to perform a search and seize items. During a routine traffic stop, police do not automatically have the right to search your vehicle. However, they can legally search your car if they have probable cause. Meaning specific, observable evidence of a crime, such as seeing drugs or a weapon in plain view, or smelling alcohol or marijuana. The plain view doctrine allows police officers to search and seize incriminating items they can see in your vehicle. For example, if the police stop you for running a red light but you have an open container of alcohol in the cup holder, an officer can act without a search warrant. If an officer asks for your permission to search, and this is critical, they are asking because they do not already have the legal right to do so. The moment you say, "Sure, go ahead," you have waived your Fourth Amendment protection entirely. What officers rarely volunteer is that you have the right to clearly and calmly refuse consent to search. A simple "Officer, I do not consent to searches" is sufficient. Refusing consent cannot be held against you legally, though it may extend the duration of the stop if the officer then seeks a warrant. Say those words calmly and clearly: "Officer, I do not consent to a search." You are not being difficult. You are exercising a constitutional right that exists specifically for moments like this. If the officer orders you out of the car or crosses a line. If an officer orders you to exit your vehicle during a traffic stop, you must comply, but your right to refuse a warrantless search without probable cause remains intact. This is a non-negotiable legal requirement established by the Supreme Court. You cannot refuse to get out of the car if ordered. Step out calmly, keep your hands visible, and do not make sudden movements. However, exiting the vehicle does not mean consenting to anything beyond that. If the officer begins patting you down, they must have reasonable suspicion that you are armed and dangerous. A routine traffic stop alone does not justify a pat-down. If they begin searching without your consent and without clear probable cause, do not physically resist under any circumstances. Even if you believe the stop is unjustified, it is critical not to physically resist or argue aggressively. Resisting an officer can lead to additional charges and escalate the situation unnecessarily. The safest approach is to comply with basic requests while asserting your legal rights verbally if needed. The roadside is never the place to win a legal argument. Calmly and clearly state, "I do not consent to this search." Say it out loud, more than once if necessary, because your verbal non-consent is what preserves your legal rights in court later. In all 50 states, you also have the right to record your interaction with police during a traffic stop, provided you do not interfere with the officers performing their duties. If you have a passenger who can record, even better. That recording can be the difference between a dismissed case and a conviction after the stop, what to do with the ticket and what happens next. Once the officer issues a citation or lets you go, there are several critical things to understand. Signing a ticket is not an admission of guilt. Paying it usually is, and a guilty plea can mean points on your license, fines, surcharges, insurance increases, and a permanent mark on your driving record. Before you pay any ticket, take time to understand exactly what you are being charged with and whether it is worth fighting in court. Many traffic violations can be reduced or dismissed entirely with a proper legal challenge, especially if the stop itself was questionable. Criminal charges can be dismissed if traffic stops are conducted in violation of a person's constitutional rights. If a police officer conducts a search or seizure without probable cause, a search warrant, or the owner's consent, items that could be evidence of a crime may be inadmissible in court. This is why saying "I do not consent to a search" matters so much. If a search happens anyway without legal justification, everything found in that search may be thrown out of court entirely under the exclusionary rule. As soon as the stop is over, write down or record everything you remember: the officer's name and badge number, the time and location, exactly what was said, and what happened during the stop. This documentation becomes critical if you later challenge the ticket, file a complaint, or need to defend yourself in court. Your rights during a traffic stop are only as powerful as your knowledge of them, and now you know exactly what they are and the precise words to use to protect them. Note, these laws vary by state. This is educational information only and does not constitute legal advice. If you face serious charges arising from a traffic stop, consult a licensed criminal defense attorney. Many offer free consultations. Thanks for the watching video. Do not forget to subscribe my channel for more informational videos.